Welcome to the Jam with Cam Chord Teacher app tutorials. This first video, we just get started with entering some chords. But before we do that, I just need to go over here. I'm going to change this to the key of D. Just a good habit to get into. If you happen to know in advance the key that your song's in, go ahead and do that. And then the fastest way to get started is just click in this white area somewhere. And now we just need to start typing in our chords. We only need 4 chords for this first song. And there we go, D, A, B minor, and G. What you might notice at this stage is the system attempts to block out characters that would be considered invalid in chord names. So a lot of lowercase letters don't do anything. But if they have, in this one, we use the lowercase m for the B minor. It did allow that. It will allow some other ones, and as you experience other chords in my lesson series, you'll see what letters are actually allowed, and also numbers too. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. So the first 4 chords are there. So let's just see what that looks like. I press the enter button, which is right here, and then it just puts them in these boxes. The 4 active boxes are the only ones that will play if I hit the play all, but that's for another lesson. And once these chords are there, you could play them one at a time if you wanted, just to make sure that this sounds the same as your piano at home. And then you would just scroll through these and just hit them one at a time and play the play one. Just make sure that yours matches with what's on the app. Okay, we just finished entering the chords, and so now it's time to start smoothing this out to make this sound less choppy. I happen to know in advance that what I need to do is have the F sharp be the highest note in the chord, because your ear always kind of goes to the highest sounding note when a piano plays, and melody for this particular song would be starting on the F sharp. I just happen to know that off the top of my head. And so I have a few options for making F sharp the highest. I can just step it back one inversion with these 2 arrows here, left and right. I just happen to know if I move the A down here instead, it'd leave the F sharp alone on top. I could have gone the other direction as well, and it would have done the same thing. I also can change the octave. Maybe you want your song to start a higher sound, whatever. You could start up there, but again, you want nice smooth movement. Let's just put it back where it was though and get back on track. So my first chord, I wanted to have F sharp be the top note. What I'm going to do now is hit the next button, and now I can see where the A is, and the top note is an E now. And if I go back and forth between these two, you'll see that the F sharp to E, it's not a huge move, so I'm going to leave this one alone. I'm not even going to invert this one, just leave it in its position the way that it is. The next one, I'm also going to leave this alone because F sharp to E and then back to F sharp, that's also nice and close together, so I'll just leave that alone. And then the last chord in this series, we went down from F sharp down to a D. And so in this case, that's a little bit of a jump. What would happen if I go like this and just invert it up one? Now my top note is a G. And with the top note being a G, it's really close to F sharp. And if you look at all these notes that we're supposed to play, the only one that's changing is the F sharp to G. The B and the D get to stay parked. So that's actually a nice smooth move there. So I'm just going to leave that alone. Now, the thing to be aware of is just because it looks good in sequence, you want to be prepared to make sure that it sounds good at the, when this loops and hits these same 4 chords again. So now I'm at 4 out of 4. If I hit the next, that's going to take me to chord 1 again. Well, now we're back to F sharp. So this one actually loops really well as also, and that matters, because now when I scroll through these manually, I can see that I'm not having to move very far between each chord. The pinky gets to stay really close each move. Okay, now at this stage, now that I've got my inversions the way that I want, before I move to the next topic, it is important to start actually trying to play these. Now that I know my wrist doesn't have to go crazy, so let's just manually go back to number 1, and then just hit the play 1 button. And then on your piano at home, this is where you try yours and make sure it sounds the same. If it sounds too high or too low, that might mean that you're not hovering near middle C. C4 right here matches middle C on your piano, and hopefully someone's shown you where middle C is on your actual piano. And trust your ears. If yours sounds the same as these, then you know that you're in the right place. Okay, the next chord in the sequence is A, so we'll hit that play 1. You can just try that one. The B minor should sound like this. Again, follow along at home, be doing these at home. And then the G chord, play that one. Make sure that it matches. So there you go. We've got smooth wrist movement. You've heard these one at a time and starting to get your fingers in the right places. And slowly and methodically go through these and make sure that yours matches what you're seeing on the screen. Now we're going to start looking at more advanced features of the playback and start trying to make this jam a little bit. You'll notice that there's rock 1 shows up here and our beats per minute is 120. You may not know this, but according to Google, the song With or Without You should have 110 beats per minute. We're at 120, so I can click here and then just scroll and look for different numbers. If you're just starting out, I would recommend start about half that speed. So let's start at 55, and it'll sound really slow, but that's okay because you want to try and get accuracy first and then build speed later. And we're assuming that in the previous video you actually did follow the mapping and did actually try to match these already. And so you're ready now to do play all. We're going to play the current section. I'll explain what this other part means in another video. But for right now, we're going to choose previews on. Now let me explain why I did this. Previews on, what that's going to do is it's going to give me a slight little nudge. The display is going to change just ahead of when I need to actually play it. The drums are there to keep the tempo going so you know when the chord's supposed to change. You'll hear it needing to change. But the previews on is going to give you like 3/4 of a second. It's going to show you the next chord just before you need to move to it. So if you watch closely, you'll see that happen. We're going 55 beats per minute. Get your hand ready for the D chord and go play right now. Just make sure you're there. Boom, 2, 3. We're going to switch pretty quick and play the A now. B minor, I'm going to say it when you actually hit it. G, and what's really nice is the display is showing you just before you need it. Even when we loop back to the first chord, it's going to give it to you just a little ahead with previews on. So my recommendation whenever you learn a new song, start with a slower tempo than you probably need, especially if you're a beginner, and just make sure you can actually play it at the right time. And the warning, the previews on is a great way to get going. When you're ready and you think, hey, I've almost got these memorized, then play a current song. You can go to sync on. What that's going to do is the playback of the chord, the app, and the display of the app will be in sync, like all at the same time. So you'll watch the playback now. Now it's going to show you exactly when you need to change the chart changes to. Try and remember the next one. So you kind of have to memorize the order that there was. Okay, maybe you don't like it this way yet, and that's okay. Just go back and do previews again. Okay, and you be the judge as to when you're ready to make the tempo faster and when you're ready to not need the charts anymore, because the more advanced option would be if I hit back up to 110, which is the real tempo of the song. I could also do it in this way, hit the play all, play the entire song, but now I'm going to do the chords only view. This is when you've memorized where these chord shapes go, but you just need to be reminded which chord you need, and you just happen to know where they are. So now it's showing me this, D, now I switch to A, and if you've memorized by this point, then it's just nice to know when those happen, and so now the playback matches this way. This is an advanced skill. We're at full speed. Okay? So there you go. There's the play all features, how to use them, and strategically start slow, work your way up to the faster tempos, get rid of previews eventually as soon as you've got memorized which fingers do I need to press for each chord. And don't worry if it takes you a while to graduate from one level to the next. That's fine. Just go at your speed. This is your app. This is your learning system. This is where we're going to start thinking about, hey, is there stylistic things that I could be doing and change my playback? And when I say change my playback, I mean change the rhythm. Everything so far has just been whole notes. Just hold that chord for 4 counts. In some songs, the chords change more often than that, but that's for another video. But this one, we're going to start thinking about, all right, it's for 4 counts, but instead of just parking, we're maybe going to try to add a rhythm to it. And have your hands match your rhythm, but let's let the drums tell us what to do. We just went with a steady rock beat. There are some other ones that we could use. Let's try, oops, not that one. I want to do the number 2. So the Amen break, this one has a really neat feel. It's kind of a syncopated with some 16th stuff happening. The chords themselves are not going to change. So wherever you need to put your fingers for those chords, that's not going to change at all. We are going to park our hands in the same spots, but now we're just going to add some rhythm to it. And let's just assume that you're already to this chords only spot. Just listen to the beat once. Okay, to my ear, and there's tons of interpretations. Boom, 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 bum, bum, bum. We could do that rhythm. Dun, 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 dun. And I'm not sitting in front of a real piano. I want you to do this with me. But I'm going to hit the play all button. I'm going to sing the rhythm that I want you to play on your piano. And I'm going to show you one more feature that actually is really neat. If you want to hear your piano stand out against what's going on with the app, what we could do is just change the sound that the app is playing so that it doesn't sound exactly like yours, because then you get mixed up, well, which one was it and which one was me, right? So I'm going to change these sounds. So now we're using a electric bass in the left hand and the Rhodes piano in the right. And then when you play your piano on top, you'll be able to tell where you are. And I'm going to add the rhythm on top. I'm going to sing that da, 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 da. So you're going to go like that. Da, 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 da. With the chords in the right place and just kind of jamming along with us. And I'll sing the letter name of the chord so you don't get lost. D, 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 A, 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 B, B, B. A different interpretation for a nice little rhythm that fits the vibe of those drums, hey, mine isn't the only right way. There's tons of right ways to do this. So go ahead and change that the way you'd like. And the sky's the limit. You got so many drum beats here possible, and then tempos, you can change it. Maybe you want something a lot faster. That's up to you. Let's pretend that you got this working, you learned how to play the song, and then you went to jam with your friends, and guess what? The singer says, this is too low. I can't sing that low. Can you change the key? And you're like, oh, I'm not sure. Well, let's see if you can. So go to the key change place here, and I'm going to choose the key of F instead. And then the system's going to ask me a question. It's going to say, do you want to leave the chords where they were, or do you want to transpose to a new key? I'll explain why you might want option 1. But in this case, we do want option 2. I want to transpose to a new key. It's going to put this in the key of F. And then all the charts, you'll notice, have changed automatically. And because you already inverted the last version, you won't have to change the inversions on these. These are already going to be built nice and close to each other. So now you just have to step through this manually and just go, okay, I got to learn that one. Got to go to the C chord next. Do these one at a time until yours sounds the same. And so there you are. New key. And it tells you the names of all the notes that you're playing. It tells you the name of the chords. And then if you play it higher and you get this nice and smooth, then your singer's like, oh, thank you. It's so much easier for me to sing the right notes because it's in my range. So, and there's as you can see, there's like 12 different keys you could change this to. So the sky's the limit. But just, again, go back, learn the shapes in the new key, work through the progression the way you just did before, and then add the rhythm on top that makes sense, change the style, whatever. But there's one very powerful tool to being able to change to a new key. All right, for this next section, I'm going to teach you about how to build a larger progression, because you notice that there's 24 boxes here, and trust me, There's some songs that have way more than 24 chords. So what I built in was an overlay system so that you could have verses and choruses. When you first open the app, you'll notice it right here. It just says default. That just means it's only going to use these 24. But let's say that I had a song that needed to be a lot longer than just 4. I could hit default, and now it asks me to arrange my songs. At this point, I just need to decide, do I need an intro? Do I need a verse, chorus, verse, whatever I need, and then I would just add that in and then just hit done. Once I hit done, it's going to ask me the question, hey, there's chords sitting there. If we don't do anything with them, they're just going to disappear. And maybe if you had 24 of them, you'd be like, oh no, they're gone. Well, this is going to allow me to move those into verse 1. Okay, so here we go. Verse 1 is now active. When I hit verse 2, and go back in here, sorry, I only used chorus. If I go into chorus now, what you should expect to see is nothing, because I haven't entered any chords here. So now we enter chords and start arranging the song however we need to. And it'll just let me type them in as before. So let's say this one did something funky. It went to the D minor first, and then we had a G minor 7 just for fun, and then a C7. Okay, and then I hit enter. And so now these chords show up for my my chorus that I just created out of thin air. And same thing, I need to go in and decide about inverting these. So let's say that the inversion that worked best was here again, and D minor actually looks good. And then this one, oh boy, look at how much I had to move my wrist. A down to F. Let's see what happens if I pop this up one. That's a little bit better, because I like that there a little bit better. And then I'm going to pop this down in one spot. Let's put the B flat in the middle. Put the B flat at the bottom of this chord instead. So now when I scroll through these, yeah, the only 2 pinky notes I had to worry about was a G on top, a couple of them, and A on top for a couple of them. So now I built a progression for the chorus. And then it makes things change a little bit when I hit the play all button. Now I have more choices to make. Because I have a chorus and a verse present, now I need to tell playback, do I want to just work on one section at a time, or do I want to play the whole song? So that's when these first ones become relevant. Let's say I wanted to rehearse the whole song. I'd hit play the whole song. Preview's on just for fun, because maybe I still need a little bit of a review. I hit play, and now it's going to play starting with the verse. First chord, now we're to the next section.